for military intelligence. So basically, my background is related to reverse engineering, low level research, and defensive and offensive application, building their architectures and building like tools, red teaming framework, and your some C2 tools I have built in the past. And most of the time I spend my time writing detections to prevent threat in the industry that we are seeing in our day to day you know uh, and they are in our day to day routine. So cybersecurity of focus on both of the things. Okay, first one is like the offensive approach, and there is a defending approach as well. So in attacking approach, we are going to discuss today about some malware development, malware detection, malware obfuscation, and creating a basic FUD static kind of detection. And we will be showing the proof of concept for that. Okay, and from the other side, in for the defending approach, I'll talk about MITRE attack. Okay, how it works, and some tools that you can use for Windows malware reversing and open source reversing tools, because Windows also provides very a good tool set to reverse these malwares, and which can help you to create detection and take countermeasures. And I'll be discussing about building some yara rules to detect those kind of threat that you are finding in the wild. Okay, okay, so let's start with the attacking approach. Okay, so first of all, malware development. Okay, so malware development is process of creating and designing, a program, okay, which can harm your computer computer system, or exploit or gain unauthorized access over there. So unauthorized access means like, okay, you are inside the other system where you don't have to be. Okay, so how you can get access to that system. Okay, and how remote access tool works as well. So there is a big borderline between a grayware and a malware. Okay, so for example, you are using a team viewer, that's kind of grayware. But if that process get automated, if you clicked on something and unknowingly it's giving access to some other person remotely, it considered as a malware, because it's not showing its true behavior when you are running that application. Maybe it's opening a Tetris game, maybe it's opening some other kind of program, converter, CD converter, or something like that. So those which are working in background and connecting to some other command and control centers. Command and control servers are like where you are getting the access, full access. I think uh, uh, yeah I think you guys know about that basic C2s. So if you don't know, I'll tell you. You if you when you create connections, the client server architecture is there. So how you can connect to each other is via reverse proxy, or there is a reverse shell, a reverse shell, and there is a TCP protocol you can use to connect with each other, or you have DNS over HTTP as well. So there are different approach and protocol which are being used to create a connection between your client and server. So in this case, like C2 is the command and control, we say, for the attacker machine, and you know uh, and the victim machine is the client machine. So there are various types of malware. For first of all, we have worms, viruses, trojans, keyloggers, password stealers as well. Okay, and ransomware. So for first of all, like viruses, okay, they are attached to some legitimate file, and what they do, they spread across your network. And worms are kind of program that are self-replicating, harm that system, and can slow down its performance and eventually lead to some crash as well. But it do not give you permission to you know capability to take control of that system. But on the other hand, like Trojan are Trojan horses. I think you know about that Greek story, that Trojan horse. Okay, what they did was like they had a horse and they gifted to a king, and inside that horse they have a a full army. So like that, you have a legitimate software, for example, Teams, and you injected some payloads or malicious code inside those inside that file, and you send it to your victim, and you made victim to open that file, and yeah, it can trigger that malicious code. They are called the Trojans. Then we have rats. Okay, so rats are remote access Trojans. Okay, basically provide full control to attacker. It works remote access too. Okay, but that category is different from these rights. So I told you there's a borderline in between. And then we have keyloggers. Keyloggers, what they do, they record keystrokes to steal password or personal data. Okay, and these keyloggers, there are advanced kind of credential stealers as well. For example, Lazane and all. You need to explore about these. So what they do is basically fetch all the information from the browser, or if you are in Active Directory, it can fetch all the password and TLM hashes. And eventually like we can also crack those NTLM hashes. There is a process for that, but basically there are very advanced credential stealer are there. So yeah, you can explore this, and you can see if you are opening. I'll tell you one thing for sure. Okay, if you think like your password is safe, when you type and save the password, and you try to open your check those password, and you have to type some credentials like system credential, and then you are going inside that that window, okay, where you can see your saved password and all. Okay, but what if I tell you like, okay, you don't need any of that. Okay, and it's not a and it's not considered a bug as well. Okay, I don't know why, but I gave this to report to Chrome and Firefox as well. Okay, because they both work on different set of kernel. One is Blink based. I think Chrome is Blink based kernel, and Gecko based is your Firefox. Firefox have very so many security flaws I've seen in the past, but yeah, Chrome also have some of them. So you can just use those kind of Lasagna kind of software, and you can fetch those credentials, and you can clearly see in the clear text those passwords, not in the hash form. So then we have ransomware. So there are so many ransomware groups who are affecting and you know affecting other organization and institutes by stealing data and encrypting their data and deleting their shadow copies. Shadow copies, I'll tell you, are the backup for your system. There is a backup. Okay, so those copies are deleted, and they try to encrypt all the files of different file types. Okay, like JPG or your DLL files. Some DLL files are operating in your user mode, and you'll also see like, okay, your documents as well, doc files, media files, most of them. Okay, whatever is mentioned in that ransomware code. Okay, all those files can be encrypted. Not everything needs to be encrypted, because some things they need to work, because they also have connection to their command and control, from where they'll get the decryption key. If they encrypt every single thing, then they won't be able to create a network connection between victim and the attacker, and there won't be any key exchange for that ransom. So I'll tell you, recently you'll see there is a, I think, Bitbat is a, like, cryptocurrency platform. Recently, North Korea targeted that cryptocurrency platform, and now what they did was basically they stole 1.3 billion dollar worth of bitcoins, and it happened. It happened just because of few vulnerabilities, and they haven't implemented anything. But there was a ransomware attack as well in the same organization. So yeah, this is types and some background about these ransomware worms. And worms are also, you have seen in the past, so many files are being created. There are really very famous worms when there was, like, 2009 to 12. Okay, I saw so many worms in pen drive, or if you distributing CDs, creating shortcuts, because there is a some things like automatically popping up. These kind of things which are doing automatic, they attackers usually take leverage of those things and try to implement their persistence in that area, okay, which is automatically popping. For example, your startup, okay. In startups also, what attacker do, they change your registry keys, okay, or your startup applications as well, where they can trigger their payload, okay, in the startup, and they basically drop those kind of payload in your temp directory. And yeah, this is like the common behavior. But if you go to more sophisticated malware, they come in different at different level. So I'll discuss some of that, okay. So basically you need to see, okay, there are several system privileges, okay. For example, there is here we have like ring 0, ring 1, ring 2, and ring 3, okay. First of all, in which like you are a user to a system, okay. When you log in, you are a simple user, okay. And you do not have to directly have access to see what's going on in your keyboard or mouse, or those kind of protocols, and what kind of data is flowing in that thing, okay. In from ring 3, okay. And you will have a limited access, in short, okay. And then we have ring 2, same as that, but it's like a middle where there will be a restriction, you can just to your hardware, okay. The most critical vulnerability comes from the kernel, okay, ring 0. And if attacker wants to implant their malware inside ring 0, what they need to do is basically they need to exploit some vulnerability, okay, that can lead them to ring 0 sort of privileges, okay. So this is like anti-authority users, these users are, okay. So anti-authority will give you full access, where you can also delete files from the system 32 as well. But if you go with admin, normal admin privileges, okay, ring 1, okay, and you are trying to delete some files from system 32, you won't be able to do that because of that privilege level. So you can also do that, but you need to go to ring 0. So there are tools, actually this is for anti authority, was basically for the troubleshooters and for the services as well. So there are windows system internal tools as well, which can give you access to anti authority. That software is called ps exec. You can find it in msdn, MSDN repository, or website as well, Microsoft official website as well. There are sys internal tools. You can use those tools, and you can see, like, okay, what access they can give you. So I'll be discussing more about them in detail when I'll be discussing more about the tools for reverse engineering. So malware development, okay. Here we have program, okay, Python program, okay. So basically we need a socket, and we need to see sub process, okay. And there are several phases for developing a malware that needs to that are really needed while building a malware, because it should be undetectable, or it should not be caught by any antivirus or edrs or something like that. But right now I'll be discussing you know uh, more about static evasions. Okay, so there is a virus total, there's a site called virus total, okay, where you put these viruses, and there are a lot of antivirus, like I think around 6970, I guess. So in there you can send these kind of files, and you can see like how many antivirus are able to detect your file. Okay, from there you can get an idea, okay, am I doing good or not. Okay, so first of all, obfuscation is a technique to hide that code. So you are seeing everything in plain text. I'll show you like when the code is obfuscated, how it looks. Obfuscation is basically a technique like you are encoding something, and then you are decoding after that when you are calling that function. Okay, so so static during this static scanning, what it does, what scanner actually do is like they'll see, okay, socket is written or command is written, or something, some pattern is written. Okay, if you see and explore yara rules, you will get to know, okay, what kind of pattern actually they are any antivirus is looking for, or open source, how they are open source antivirus, how they are detecting those files. So you can see like what things they are checking. Okay, so but what if you make something like, okay, socket, you made it obfuscated and encoded with some other thing. Okay, there are different type of encoding schemes as well. There is a base 64, base 32, hex encoding, XOR encoding as well, encryption as well. Okay, bitwise XOR. Okay, and there are so many methods as well. Okay, you need to find in that in the cryptography, you can see this kind of thing. Okay, so then we have a code injection. Okay, the code should be can be injected in the legitimate process. And there are different techniques for code injection as well. And there are process injection, for example, there are process hollowing. Okay, so to of high, you are running any process, they are suspending that process, and during that suspension state, okay, you are trying to inject some malicious code inside that. So this is these are kind of techniques. Okay, and there are so many. Okay, if you go side loading, side dll loading, for example, I think you guys are aware of cracks and all. Okay, like how cracks work, you copy and paste that a dll file to your c drive, and when you run that application, it's fully patched, right? So what basically it is doing, it's side loading that dll. Okay, what if you replace that file with some malicious malware? Okay, when then you double click it, and that malicious payload will be triggered, and attacker will get the access. So there are so many different ways attacker can exploit these things. And then we have persistence mechanism. Okay, it's not important like you have to be inside that system for a while. Okay, 10 minutes. For a red teamer, persistence is the key. Okay, where they need to stay for a longer duration of time. It can be day, or it can be, sorry, week, or months or years. Okay, the best thing about persistence is like an attacker can check that system, attack system anytime, anywhere. And network communication, like what kind of protocol you are using. Okay, there are, I told you, there is tcp, there is http, https as well. We have dns over http. There are various protocols which are involved for the network communication. Okay, and you can also use some protocols like smb. and WMI exact. There are so many. So if you go deeper, you will see this kind of thing. And then we have privilege escalation, gaining higher permission to bypass restriction. As I told you, like, okay, will be a normal user, and if a normal user open that file, okay, and attacker will get access to that system, he will get access to that normal system, okay, not like, a normal user, okay, with very less privileges. Now what attacker used to do is, like, they want to go to higher level. For example, they want to go from ring 3 to ring 0, so they need to escalate privileges, try to find some vulnerabilities in your system, which are, for example, in some drivers, in some, in some, if there is a token impersonation version that your system is supporting, then they can use the token impersonation technique. There's a lot of exploits available. If your upgrades are not intact, they can check those kind of thing during reconnaissance, and an attacker can get it. Okay, so in the right side you can see I have a normal program where I'm building connection, okay, c2 a reverse shell. Okay, so here we have an attacker ip, we have a port, and then we have a three-way handshake over there, and then a command is received in the, attacker side, and which is when it's running on this python program is running on the victim. This is just a, 20 line of code that if run in very critical machine can harm so many systems. So you what you need to do, you need to see, like, okay, what every single okay, I'm not going to explain every single thing, but you need to go in depth by yourself. Okay, okay, shell equals true, what shell means and what's the difference, because you are in like college, but I understand you'll you don't know like the shell code, what is shell code, but you are familiar with the op codes, right? Machine codes in assembly language. Okay, 8086. So I'll tell you, there are like x86 architecture and x64 architecture. uh, you need to understand those architectures as well. So I think you'll be seeing some of your course list. Okay, it's you think like, okay, what I'm gonna do with compiler design. Okay, what I'm gonna do with, computer architecture subject or something like that. I'll tell you, if you are in cybersecurity, you have to be in every single thing. Okay, you need to know all of these, at least basics of everything. Okay, and most importantly, you need to deep dive in the assembly. Okay, x32, x86 and x64 kind of architecture. Okay, there won't be much differences, but I think you need knowledge about the instructions, as well as knowledge about the, opcodes and all. Okay, and how you can debug, and there are several ways to debug. Okay, and how you can compile the low level code to high level. For example, you are seeing a binary code. Okay, so generally we get packed malware, so obfuscated one. Okay, so how we can, reverse those kind of things. So yeah, it's a really interesting thing to explore, and I'll leave it to you now. Okay, so malware detection. Okay, I sent it to virus total, and I can see there is only one ml detection is hitting from the Microsoft. Okay, and I know this code is a malicious code, and no one is detecting. Other antiviruses are not even detecting. There are Acronis, Norton, Avast, and McAfee, and etc. There are so many. Okay, but no one seems to detect this malware. So but we what we want to do, we want zero detection on this malware. So what we're gonna do the malware obfuscation. Okay, as I told you, like, obfuscation is the process of making code intentionally difficult to read. Okay, you can encode everything. Okay, So here I use base 64 to encode all the functions, and I also use decode after that. Okay, whenever this thing is read it inside the memory, it will be decoded inside the memory. But in the plain text, you won't be able to see the clear intention of the file, right? You can see the IP address and attacking port. You can also encode these. Okay, but for for the sake of understanding, I just made it like that. Okay, and basically it is used for the evasion and prevent level one researchers to go beyond, like, okay, what is happening or what's not. And it basically to delay their analysis as well. Okay, but it won't take much time if you get a flow to how you can reverse. Basically you need to build that thing. Okay, you need to build that flow, like, for reversing. So now the code is obfuscated. Let's put this file inside the virus total and see the results. Yeah, this is now fully undetectable, uh, a malware. Okay, you can see no one is detecting, not even Microsoft and others as well. You can see Baidu, you can see Avast, AVG. There are so many. I told you, like, previously there are 70 antiviruses. Okay. Oh, okay. There are 63 over here, but sometimes it increases. Okay, so now it's time to see the proof of concept. Okay, I'm going to run this file python.file.py. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'll start the netcat. Okay, and I'll say, okay, on port list, start listing port 4444. Okay, and when I started this file, uh, and you can see I got access to that victim machine. So this is a Linux system, this is a Windows system. You can see we got access to Linux system. So for sake of understanding, I choose different operating system, but you can do Windows to Windows as well, the same thing. Okay, and here you can see if I run command dir. Okay, you can see here, this command dir. Okay, so it will give you the directory list. Okay, directory list, it's sufficient for me to demonstrate. Okay, the exploit is working fine. I got remote connection to that to the victim machines, and with the zero detection. This is called a proof of concept for them. Okay, so there are so many different ways attacker are using it. Okay, this is like a file.py, like a script based kind of malware. But there are exe based and dll based, or there are some other ocx as well. Okay, so how you can stop this? Okay, it's really very easy to, I'll tell you, to build something like this. And you can also get, you know also you can get access to that system. But protecting system from these kind of threats is really very challenging, and that's the case. You have to work hard. Okay, so first of all, what I think, if a person is jumping into cybersecurity, he must know, okay, what is reverse shell, or how you can get reverse connections as well, or how C2 framework works, and how attack chain works, everything. Okay, in the beginning, start with, like, buffer overflow development or something like that. Okay, so you'll get, like, very deep vision, like how attacker is thinking. You If you want to protect system from the attacker, you must think like an attacker. Okay, if you don't know, like, how to think like an attacker, you won't be able to defend what's going to come up next. Okay, you have to think from all the corners, right? So now let's talk about, like, how you are going to defend this kind of thing. Okay, so first, this is the MITRE attack. Okay, so MITRE is an organization which was started by the NSA USA. Okay, so unlike military operation, right, cyber warfare is also work in the same way. First we have recon, resource development, then initial access, execution, persistence, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, C2, exfiltration, and impact. Okay, so I'll tell you how it's related to real military operation. Okay, so for example, if a military goes in a field, okay, they want what first they are going to do? They're gonna recon the whole area. Okay, okay, there are there are people over there. There's this next army over there, and they have some resources over there. Then when you collect that sort of information, then you start developing your resources, right? Okay, this number of men we want, and this is the ammunition we want. Okay, then they will go to the next step. They need an initial access. Okay, initial access to some point, okay, from where they can deploy and execute everything. Okay, so they need to capture something that comes in initial access. Okay, then the execution starts. Okay, you're executing the plan. Okay, then persistence. Okay, once you captured that area, then you need to persist. Okay, you need to defend that area as well. Okay, so you need particular persistence from where you can connect, come back and go and recon again, and come back and go recon again. Okay, then then the next step is defense evasion. Okay, then you go forward and you need to evade the defense from the from where you are attacking, where the military is operating. Okay, they need to evade their defenses. Then they need some credential access over there. Okay, to for example, they are communicating with their walkie talkies and all. They need those kind of credential and see like what's going on in their system, those kind of thing. Okay, and discovery, like okay, all the documents and all. Then they will start the lateral movement. Okay, once that field is captured, okay, they have the flag over there, then they will start a lateral movement. Okay, now see from here, from how we can expand to the next level. Okay, how many more fields are there in this warfare. Okay, like that. And then they will go for collection, and they will set up a command and control center as well. Okay, and then they will exfiltrate the resources. For example, they are rich in minerals, they will exfiltrate that. And overall what it made was is an impact. Okay, impact. uh, what's the end game? Okay, what's the end game? And same goes to the cyber as well. Okay, so when they do reconnaissance or anything like that, there are evidences for that inside that particular malware file. Okay, for recon we have seen like 10 different kind of techniques. For resource development we have seen 8 kind of technique, and initial access 11, 16 for execution, 14 for persistence, 45 for defense evasion, 17 credential access, 33 discovery, 9 for lateral movement, 17 for collection, 18 for C2. For exfiltration we have 9, and impact we have 15. Okay, so you need to see these things inside a malware file, and then you can stop that threat from happening. Okay, for that behavior as well. Okay, you can see it's executing this file and it's executing that file, and then it's modifying some registry key, and then it's doing some credential access. Then you take those what do you say those fragments or techniques, and you create some yara rule. Okay, which gonna detect that kind of thing. Or if you are building some using some open source EDR, you can say okay, after execution this was the process, and then this is the next registry key which is going to be triggered, then the credential access, then it is related to this particular malware. Okay, and there are a lot of different malware families as well. Okay, we can discuss it later. Windows malware reversing tool. Okay, Windows also provide us vast variety of tool for reverse engineering and for debugging as well. Okay, and my personal favorite is like WinDBG and Process Monitor and Process Explorer. Okay, it gives me all the information that I need, and Proc Dump also is one of them I use occasionally. But yeah, so if you want to monitor every single process what's going on in your system when this malware is executed, you can use process monitor. And process explorer, you can see like, okay, you can also see the process tree, you can see the privilege level. If you want to slow down a process speed, okay, it's executing very fast, okay, in nanoseconds, but you want in you want to expand that execution for 10 seconds. Those kind of operation can be done in process explorer. And in auto runs, you can see like the auto run tools that are, implanted inside a or inside the Windows operating system. Then we have a TCP view where you can see the network activity. Then we have desktops. Desktop is really very interesting. Okay, you can see there are multiple window right now. Okay, previously we do not have that kind of feature during Windows. I think Windows 10. I think we don't have that. So what a ransomware used to do, they used to, encrypt every single thing that you are seeing in the first window. But if you have installed this desktop app, you can have multiple windows, okay, multiple instances of the same window, but they are, you can see those are not encrypted. And that's how we are able to, reverse so many ransomwares attacks, because of that this application only, okay, desktop. So Mark Rashinovich was the one who authored all these, applications. Back in 1996, he started its development. And then we have system monitor and list DLLs as well. Logon session, you can see the logon sessions. And VM map also, you can see the virtual memory mapping as well. Okay, it's also an important tool. Process dump, I, you will know, okay, what it is. It's very nice too. And PS exec, I told you, if you want to, perform something with higher privileges, anti authority, you can do it with PS exec. And WinDBG is Windows debugger. You can use it remotely to check uh, IOCTL calls that are the calls made from the hardware to the kernel. You can intercept those. So many big operations, like if you want to do some vulnerability research, okay, buffer overflow on kernel level, or on a simple application as well. You want to see like how the process is running inside the memory, what registers are modified, what are the hex code. Uh, and you can also go ahead and see like, okay, uh, what what kind of, memory mapping, or memory mapping memory mapping they are using. So a lot of interesting thing you can find out over there, like DLLs which are being loaded, like threads, stacks as well. You can see the function, user functions as well. So a lot of interesting things. So this is really I think this is the first of most important, you know uh, application that you're gonna need for reverse engineering. Then we have open source tools. Okay, open source also did a really very great job. Uh, First is XDVG. I think Duncan made this, but yeah, it's a snapshot. It's basically called like snapshot tools. Inside snapshot tools, you have XDBG, and it's really very great. Same as WinDBG, but it gives you so many, fancy stuff, and uh, more information, like, with better GUI kind of stuff. Okay, so same as that. Okay, but more GUI stuff, and uh, the information a reverse engineers need. And you can also extend, use plugins over there, and you can extend a lot of functionality over there. It comes with this feature, and it's importantly, it's an open source. So if you want to uh, do something specific inside the software, you can upgrade the code as well. So then we have die. This is detect it easy. It will tell you whether file is packed, whether file is not packed, or what kind of encryption they are using, the string analysis, every single thing. Okay. Then we have PE bear. So it will tell about common object file format, all that information about the DLL file, where are the headers, where are the sections, all that MZ, from the MZ header to the last section. Okay, and you can also, most importantly, P where you can fix the import address tables. And you can also that's really very helpful in behavior, that functionality. Because when we try to dump some process, okay, from WinDBG or XDBG, okay, we dump, but the relative virtual addresses are not properly aligned. So we need to align those virtual addresses so that it can be loaded safely inside the memory, and we can also execute that to see the next level behavior. Then we have Wireshark. Wireshark is actually used to check how what are uh, what communication are being made and what requests are being sent or received in that particular system, in the entire network. Okay, so you can explore a lot of interesting stuff in there. We have radar 2. Okay, radar 2 is also you if you want to dissect and to change the low level code to high level code. For example, you have a basic op codes for 4186, something like that. There's a big code, okay, and you want to change it to C level code. You can use radar for that to decompile. And if you want to analyze and step by step, you can. If you want to graph it out, you can do like that. Okay, then we have Yara. Yara is basically an engine to to detect patterns inside files. Okay, and those patterns yeah, and it's also using some sophisticated searching algorithms as well. It's also open source. Then we have Process Hacker. Then we have Cuckoo Sandbox and WinPMM. So WinPMM is like vmem. Okay, so what it basically does, it dumps all the process data which is running inside your RAM to your system. Then we have Gidra. It's also built by the NSA USA. So yeah, you can also decompile. There are this is a GUI version where you can use some radar functionality as well, and you can also do dynamic analysis as well. If you are aware of IDA, it's something like that. But I think it's an open source and it's really good, and we can expand according to our needs. Same with XDBG and the other softwares. So detection and countermeasures. Okay, so there are various kind of detection mechanism that we can build. Okay, first is like signature based detections are there. Then we have behavior based detection. Okay, then we create a Yara rules on those. Okay, and then we have sandboxing. Okay, so this is our last slide. So this is our file. Okay, now we want to detect this. Okay, our our malware that we created previously. So what we need to do first, we have to uh, name the rule, and then some meta description over there, who created and what's the severity, and some description about that. And then these are the strings. Okay, these strings should be checked. Okay, import socks, no case. Okay, like should not be case sensitive, uppercase, lowercase. And there is a condition as well. Okay, all of these should be there. And two of, okay, IP address. Okay, dollar port, CMD, or CMD exit, any two of these. Okay, and these should be matched, and any two of these are matched, then it will trigger this py rev a dot psy. So basically you just need to write in command as well, like Yara, then your rule name, and then the file name. Okay, then it will tell you, okay, that detection is triggered, okay, from that particular set of signature. Okay, I think I missed to add that slide, but definitely you can try writing Yara rules. And there are so many things, like, okay, you can skip some patterns, because okay, this can be obfuscated, but this thing can't be obfuscated. Okay, there are some particular things that can't be obfuscated, so you can skip some parts, skip some bytes, and there are wildcard characters, wildcards as well. So to do reverse and forward, case matching, like regex. So all kind of stuff you can do in Yara. Okay, so Yara is like a open source repository is also there. So what you guys can do, you can collect malware samples, and these malware samples are available in threat exchanges like Malware Bazaar is one of them. And then you can go for any.run. Then we have Alien Wallet, and there are so many. Okay, you can also go for infections. I think that was uh, one of it, one of them. And sometimes you will find these files are packed, and default password for the malwares is always infected. Okay, so you try this thing. Okay, first try see like how you can get access to that system, and you then you try to block the detection. And I'll tell you, in industry we need both kind of people, okay, who can simulate those kind of threats and who can detect those kind of threats. But if you are a mixture of both of them, then you are unstoppable in the industry, and that's what we need. And there is a huge requirement of this kind of talent who know in depth in this thing. But definitely it's gonna take some experience. Okay, it will take some time and experience and some proof of concept. So basically, if you are in this thing, okay, you basically need to build proof of concept that are working, and you are able to detect, and you need to publish those proof of concept in internet and GitHub repository or any other you are open source open source repository you are using. Okay, so there are so many things that needs to be clarified. If you are able to build something like no one has built before, okay, some attack, okay, it needs to be open source. Otherwise, if some people with some other different mindset who want to make some attacks, okay, which are unethical and involved in some terrorist activities, can be very harmful. But if you are pushing it to GitHub, it's easy for other researchers to see what you have written, and they gonna definitely gonna try to prevent those kind of threats as well. And it's not like that every security researcher and threat hunter, threat researchers are very active in seeing all those kind of blogs which are infecting the operating system, whether it's Linux, Mac, or Windows. Okay, any kind of system they are looking every day. They are looking for, okay, from whether from Twitter feeds or LinkedIn, everything. Okay, so your work will be noticed. I'll tell you, not by one person, but uh, anyone can be noticed by anyone. And definitely if it's creating some impact in the globally, then definitely there will be some work done on your thing. And it's a good thing that your work is being recognized, some researchers from different antivirus companies as well. So this is how you showcase your work as well. Okay, so that's all from my side. Okay, precious amigos. Okay, I'll see you next time. Okay, and if you have any questions or something like that, you can just ping me on my LinkedIn, message me. Okay, I'll be happy.